Hi, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Susan Lynn. I'm a psychic and a medium. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today is part of a video series that I am doing called Way Out Wednesdays. Now, every Wednesday, I will be dropping a video like this, where I will be talking about a way out topic. Now, some of you guys think that some of these videos that I have done have not been very way out there, but this one is going to probably tick that box for you. Now, I have a series of these that you can find on my channel, on my YouTube channel. If you go click on the logo, the icon, it'll take you to my main channel page, and you'll see a banner, and one of those labels on the banner will be playlist. If you click on that, you can find all of the Way Out Wednesdays right there. If you would like to check out more, there's also videos on ghost, crossing ghost over. There's a lot of videos on spirituality on my playlist. You can check out the different ones and see what might be interesting for you. Now, today we're going to talk about multiple lives. We're going to be talking about how our soul can be alive during the same lifetime in multiple bodies. Okay, yeah, sit down. It's about to get interesting, isn't it? So I am not going to be the expert on this. I'm channeling this. If you're new here, I channel about 60% of what I'm telling you is coming from my spirit guides. 40% of Susan is simply just trying to make sense of what they're saying and spit it out into words. So I get this information via pictures, thought, which is claircognizance, feeling, clairsentience, pictures is clairvoyance, and I'm also clairaudient. So sometimes I will say I hear, meaning I'm getting that information through my psychic hearing. Now, it is true, I believe, and maybe there's a hotline where you can dial up a physicist, because that's who we're going to need to talk to make sense of this. Maybe we'll bring Albert Einstein in for an interview sometime. But here's how I know. I was minding my own business. I might have been doing a meditation, but I don't think so. I had a knowing. Now, when we have a knowing, that's claircognizance. You have a thought, you have a knowing. People say, how do you know that? You say, I don't know. That's because it's psychic. There's no reason that you would know that, but you just know it. I don't know how, I just know it. When you say that, you are getting psychic information through your claircognizance, okay? I had a knowing that there's another Susan running around. God bless us all. She is, I can describe her to a T. She's actually taller than me. She's 5'9", roughly 5'8.5", 9. She's a slender build. She doesn't have the curves that God blessed me with. I don't know what I was thinking about when I signed up for this body, but I'm pretty sure I was a man in a previous life. And I thought, I'm going to have some curves, man, because that's what he liked. And now I'm stuck with him. That's all I could say. So anyway, this lady, that is me. She literally is another version of me who's living right now in this timeline. I walk the earth, she walks the earth. We're living together in this timeline. She lives, I'm not going to tell you, am I going to tell you? Okay, I will tell you that she lives in Great Britain. How about that? She lives, but I actually know the town she lives in because they told me. I know that she lives in Great Britain. I know, again, she's got a kind of a lanky build, sort of a sporty girl build. She has kind of light. This is not my normal hair color. Surprise. Spoiler alert. My normal hair color is actually really dark brown. And right now it's actually very silver. So if you check out some of my other videos, you will see me as a silver-haired fox. That's what they just said. They just called me a silver-haired fox. I don't know who that guy is, but I'm keeping him around. Okay, anyway, I digress. This young lady, she's younger than me. She has sort of medium to light brown hair. It's straight. Mine is not. It's very curvy and wavy. Hers is straight. She wears it in a ponytail. It's about this long. It's about just past her shoulders, usually. She wears it in a ponytail. She's no muss, no fuss. She's kind of a sporty girl, like a tomboy kind of girl. She is, so I have a lot in common with her, to be honest with you. We share the same energetic DNA. So we might not share the same biological DNA, but we share the same energetic DNA. That means that we have a similar personality. We have similar likes. We're struggling with similar things in our lives. So right now, this woman, and I would say that she's about 38 is what they just told me. So she's 38. I'm 57. She's working, I think, as a researcher of some kind. I don't know if it's in the medical field or what field it's in, but she does research. And I don't know if she's a postdoc or a PhD or if she's a master's degree researcher, but she has an advanced degree. And what's funny about her is that the thing that they show me about her is that I see her, which is really funny to me because it's so me. It's so me. She's walking around where she lives, and her head is down and she's ruminating, like she's just, did a light flicker behind me, or is that just me? Did my eyes just see that? Okay, never mind. I'm not going to go there. Okay. She's walking along sort of deep in thought. And so she's trying to figure her life out. Like, why didn't that relationship with that person, with this guy work out? Why didn't this work out? What did he mean when he said this? What is my boss thinking? So just literally like constantly thinking and thinking and thinking, instead of like getting out of her brain and maybe going to therapy or talking to some friends. It just kind of stays on this loop. You might call her neurotic, to be honest with you, right? She has a good heart. She's doesn't have kids. I don't have kids. She's wondering where her life is going. She's having sort of a midlife crisis at 38 or whatever I said she was. Did I make the right decision? Should I have gone into a more creative field? I think that and I'm very creative. I went into a creative field, right? I did the reverse. I was a photographer for 3 years. And then I became the psychic and the medium. Even though I had these abilities throughout my life, I didn't accept them. I didn't acknowledge them. So there's this same energy. It's manifesting differently, but it's the same energy of, should I have done this, right? And also this same energy of potentially the career being part one and part two. So she might be part one. She's just not happy in the research field. She wants more. She wants to do more. She doesn't know what she wants. That's her problem. She wants to do more, but then she says, but what do I want to do? I don't know. So it's the loop, back, just constant loop. So something that she's interested in is cooking or becoming a chef, or is something creative. She likes to be creative with food. She mixologist, right? Those people that like to create new alcoholic drinks that are unique and different and experimental. She has this creative side of her that she wants to come out, very much like me. So now you might be saying, does everybody have someone? And yes, they do. I had a good friend visiting me this weekend, and he said, and I told him, I said, I'm going to do this video on Way Out Wednesday, that there's this mini me or this other me running around. And he said, I have one too. And I've never met anybody that's known that they have another version of them running around. And in his version, his guy, it's a man. In my version, it's a woman. In he's a guy and it's a man. But this man is older than him. And post-retirement, really in that last part of your life, right? So, and he knows everything about his guy too. And I said, well, how did this come to you? And he said, I don't know. I just had a knowing one day. And that's how it came to me. I had a knowing. Now, the question is, how, why is this? Are there more? Is there more than just me and my mini me that lives in the UK? Yes, there are. I mean, I'm going to ask them right now. I'm just going to do this live. I'm going to ask them these questions. Yes, there are multiple me's. There's a me that's a little girl. There's a me that's a little girl. There's a me that's a little girl that's in an A place. I'm hearing Algiers. Is Algiers still a country? I mean, you know, these countries change names, in my opinion. Algiers. And is Algiers, I gotta ask this question. Yes, because I hate looking like a fool to international viewers all across the world. Algiers is a country and it's in Africa. And I was about to say, is it in Africa? But I should just say it and own it because it is in Africa. So apparently I have a baby version of me, a little girl who's in Algiers, Africa. And I'm seeing these whitewashed stone stucco straw. I don't know what they're made of. All I know is I'm seeing a white wall, kind of a compound. It looks like desert to me. It's very arid. I don't see trees. I see dirt when I'm looking through. So what I'm doing right now, is something that psychics can do. You might call this remote viewing, which would be when I send my energetic self to a remote location and I look at that person. You might call it astral traveling. I don't know. All I know is that I can do that. And I think a lot of people can. I'm not special by any means. I think we can all do this. To be honest with you, all humans can do this. We just don't know it yet. But so when I send my energy to that version of me that's a little girl, I'm not a baby. I'm actually a little girl. I'm about 4. I don't know. I think I'm 3, 4, or 5. I don't know why. I don't know the exact age, but I have brown hair like I do now. And it does have a little curl to it. Not a lot, but a little bit. And I feel like I have green eyes, or I feel like I have some kind of color eyes. I feel like I'm thin. I'm probably a little thinner than I could be. I'm not emaciated or anything like that, but I feel like I'm probably a little bit on the thin side. And but I feel like my dad loves me. I feel like I'm the apple of my dad's eye. I feel like my mother thinks I'm too precocious. I think my mother feels like I'm too full of myself, which basically matches my own childhood. Okay. So it's fascinating, to be honest with you. It's absolutely fascinating. So here I am. I'm smart. I can have a schooling. I can go to school. I do have siblings. I feel like my dad is a quasi professional in some way, that he either has his own business, which my dad had his own business. And again, much like my dad, not a big business owner, but a very, very small business owner. I feel like this man has a very, God, the word was there and now it's gone. A very modest is the word, a very modest business. But for him, it's a living, and he's a smart guy. And I do think that he has schooling, and I do think he's respected in his community. He's a lot smarter than his schooling. So he has a certain level of schooling, but he's much smarter than that. Do you understand? He's a natural intelligence, let's just say. What is my purpose? I mean, maybe I want to ask, what is my role there? I'm going to grow up there. I'm going to live. This is an actual question that they said, you're going to survive. I mean, I'm not saying that I live in a war-torn place or that there's violence. I'm saying that things happen. Human souls don't always live, right? I mean, it is what it is. So they're saying you will survive. You will continue living. What I do for my clients sometimes is I can take you as a little energetic bobblehead doll, let's just say, and I can move you down your timeline. So I can say, how does this person feel in 2025? How do they feel in 2024? How do they feel if I move them to this city? How do they feel if I move them out of this relationship? How do they feel if I move them out of this job? I'm going to do the same thing with this little girl. I'm going to move her down her timeline. And I just did. I moved her down her timeline to where she's 14. She's a lanky, tall girl. Again, what happened? Why did all these women get lanky? I'm 5'7.5". I'm not short, but I'm not lanky. I would like lanky. Lanky would have been good. What happened? Whatever. Anyway, I digress. She's going to be lanky, tall, thin. She's going to be quite tall. There's this thing with tallness. I don't know what that's about. She's probably going to be 5'8", which I think is tall for her family. She's going to have shoulder length hair. Again, just a little wave to it or curl to it. Not curly, but a little body or curl to it. She's very funny. She laughs a lot. She's got a beautiful smile. She's got very white teeth. So her smile, she's pretty. She's not, I wouldn't say drop dead gorgeous, but she's pretty. She's also very analytical. The same, are you picking up on the same similarities? As I grow her up, she has the same kind of Virgo. All three of us might be Virgos. Wouldn't it be interesting? Holy moly, isn't that mind-blowing if we all have the same astrological? That is going to be a little too much for me. Like, I don't know, that freaks me out. How can we all have the same astrological? We can't, because my birth date and time is going to be different than their birth date and time. Okay. Whew, scared me. I don't know. There's only so much I can take. So we are going to have similar astrological placements. Not the same, but like if you're heavy in earth signs, that will be the case. Maybe you're going to have similar placements. That's all they're going to say. So here we are. I grew this little girl up till she's 14. I'm going to grow her up till she's 23, 25. Again, Mauritania. Where is that? I think she's living in Mauritania. I don't know where that is, but at some point I do see beautiful blue water, this deep blue water. It's not Caribbean water. It's this just deep, like one part of that painting behind me. And she gets a degree. She is very independent. She does not get married young. She doesn't want to get married young. She's not sure that she's not even sure how she feels about men, how she feels about relationships. It seems complicated. Her parents have told her dad has told her, her mom thinks her dad brainwashes her to be more than she should. I think her mom thinks that she should get married and have kids, and her dad thinks that she should be a woman of the world, that she should put her education first. I think her dad wishes that he had more education than he was able to get or allowed to get. He wants more for his daughter. I do believe this is his firstborn. There does seem to be a brother somewhere, but again, she's the apple of his eye. Doesn't matter. So she puts her education first. She doesn't even date. It's like she has blinders on. She just goes to school. She only sees one thing: education, education, education. She becomes a doctor. She becomes a doctor. She stays thin. Another thing I don't understand. What happened? There's got to be a fat Susan somewhere besides here. There's got to be. They talked about one in Poland. That cracks me up. You'll have to go to Poland for the fat Susan. Oh God, y'all. Oh Lord. Anyway, okay, never mind. We'll go to Poland. Maybe, I don't know. Yeah. So what do I have now? I have a woman who lives in the UK. I have a woman or a child who lives in Algiers. And who grows up and moves to Mauritania, I don't know, but she stays in sort of, She does. Oh, wow. This is crazy. She does some training in the UK. She does go to Ukraine, UK for training, but she doesn't stay there. It doesn't feel like home to her. She doesn't like the climate. She doesn't like to her, it feels too cold. It feels too wet. She doesn't like it at all. It does not agree with her. She doesn't like it. So she goes back to, I think, the continent of Africa, but I'm not sure where else she goes there, but she does become a doctor. So now, but she's a baby now. I mean, she's a 3-year-old. I mean, I feel like I know her. I literally was very connected to her energy. So now, why do we have, why? You might be asking, why do we have multiple of us living in the same timeline? Okay. Humans, because we haven't been able to perceive of this. We haven't been able to wrap our head around this. You know, I think Einstein talked about this, but we still don't really get it. We want everything to be the clock on the wall, regimented structure. We want timelines to be, I grew up, I died, I grew up, I had kids, the kids then had kids, and then this is the timeline in a linear fashion. It's not like that at all. It's not like that at all. It's all together at once. It's all happening at the same time. Now you might say, well, if you guys are just going to have to ask your questions, and I'll answer them either in the comments or I'll do another video on this. But I can't even imagine the questions you guys have, and you always have great questions and put them in the video. But you might say, why? Let's go back to why this is happening. Well, because our soul is multidimensional. It's energy. It doesn't die. We know that because I talk to dead people. So we know that our soul doesn't die. We know that when I leave this physical plane of existence, that the part of Susan that is Susan stays alive and goes to a different plane of existence. So from that plane of existence, right. Okay. Oh, this is going to get complicated. Okay. I'm going to do it like this. We have an over soul, a higher self. Now, I know people question this, but in my opinion, we have a higher self. In my opinion, and because I'm a structured, literal human being, it's God consciousness or whatever that is for you. Then under that is our higher self. Under that is our spirit guides. Under that is, our helper guides. Then to the sides are our archangels and angels. So that's just how it is. If I had to put a flow chart to the divine, that's how it would look for me. Okay. Our higher self is the closest thing to God consciousness that our soul can be. That part of our soul. Our higher self is the part of us that stays up there with the God consciousness throughout all of our incarnations. Now, in this case, I'm saying incarnations in a timeline, right? Susan was this, and then she was this, and then she was this, and now her current life is this. And then she will be, I'm seeing it in a timeline. But our higher self is the part of our soul, the spark of our soul that never ends, never begins and never ends. It's always alive. Now, why couldn't that spark, why couldn't that part of our soul oversee in a different manner multiple Susans, so to speak? Right? So that's how this can happen. Think about think about a football coach. I don't know why they're using that analogy. Think about any kind of coach with a team. Think about a general in the army, whatever it is that, think about somebody who's in charge of other people, the boss. I did that video on Way Out Wednesdays where I talked about the higher self, and I called it the boss of your soul. Again, they're using that same analogy. This is your boss of all these Susans running around Earth right now on this day, February 22nd, 2023. There are multiple Susans running around the Earth. And that can happen because where all of our energy strings go all the way up to that one higher self, the boss. And because that higher self, when it was created, when that soul was born and had its first incarnation, we started learning lessons. And that soul, that higher self soul, has a certain energy to it. Apparently, Susans are analytical. Not all of them are lanky, but some of them are. But they're all analytical. They're all wanting to have a higher education. They're all kind of driven. They're all neurotic. They're all neurotic. God bless us all. So that energy is prevalent in my energy, and it's prevalent in all of our energies. Now, how we deal with that neuroses, how that manifests can be different for each of us. We're each getting to learn our lessons. The soul is learning and growing, each of us individually at the same time. So that's why we all have these similarities. We're all learning variations on a theme of the same lesson. So So here we are. Let's just take the 3 Susans that we know about right now. All 3 of us are single. I mean, this little 3-year-old is single, but when she's 25, she's single. The version of me that's in the UK is single. The version of me that's in Texas is single. We all are flummoxed by relationships. Right? It's fascinating, isn't it? So as perhaps if you, again, because I'm trying to describe this as a human, imagine if you had a string, and imagine if the 3 Susans that we know about right now are all attached to the string. And as one Susan makes a jump in her understanding of one of her soul lessons, it tugs the other ones up. We're all attached. So when one of us goes down, the other one's kind of like, whoa, I'm kind of feeling down. When one of us goes up, oh, I'm feeling great. It's not direct. It's not like this. There is some distance between it. So if one goes up, the other one only goes up a little bit, right? Because there's distance. It's not a 1-for-1. It's not like we're connected at the hip. There is a distance in the energy. So in this way, if you think about it, it's kind of like a lottery. Like if I have, let's say, 10 unique souls that are 10 Susans running around the planet, I've got 10 chances to learn this lesson. I've got 10 opportunities to learn these lessons. It's sort of, I don't know what the word they just used. It just gives me more opportunities to learn the lesson. I mean, I don't know about you, but it kind of takes the pressure off. You know what I mean? Like, well, if this Susan that's younger than me in the UK can figure out this thing, then maybe it's going to help this younger version of me in Algiers. Right? Then it puts the pressure on me, because then I think, well, if I figure it out, then I could help those behind me. Right? I mean, but it's all connected. It's all commiserate. Does that make sense to you guys? Now, in this case, my friend had an older version of him. So I can reach out and see if I have an older version of me. And they said I do, because I'm clairaudient. So sometimes I hear them talk. And that makes sense too, as to why I'm so, if you heard that, that's my dog. It makes sense too as to why I came out of the womb not racist, right? I grew up in a racist family, and I wasn't racist out of the womb. I mean, I was an oddball. I was an odd duck. And I always thought it was because I had a past life as a Black man. And I'm sure that has something to do with it. And where do even past lives fit into this, for the love of God, right? Well, past lives are past lives. When he was alive, he had 10 of him running around too, right? But in this timeline right now, today, I have a brown version of me, right? And I have a white version of me, and I have a white version of me. And when I went to the older version of me, that is also a brown version of me. I mean, you guys went way out there, and you guys have been saying these aren't way out there enough. Well, here you go. If your mind isn't blown by now, I don't know what would blow it. So I have a brown version of me. I don't know what ethnicity. I mean, I don't know. I just know I'm brown. And in this version, I'm a male. What? All right. So now going forward in the timeline to not the future, but a higher, an older, I just got to figure this out. It's like blowing my mind. An older version of my soul is a brown man who's thin. If you guys don't cut this out, I swear to God, there's got to be some fat people somewhere. There's got to be. Me and this Polish woman are the only ones, I think. Dang. Anyway, he's thin. I don't know what happened. Anyway, I would say that he's one of those older men that, and you see this often, not in the United States. This is not a United States person, because we don't have body types like this. The thin person that's pretty thin, but has just a tiny little belly. You know what I mean? Like most of their life, they've eaten very sparsely or very healthily or something, but they have just a little belly. I mean, I can get their names. I could get this guy's name. That's how he's, I don't know. I cannot figure out what country he's from. It might be like, Asia, some place in Asia, Cambodia, maybe. I don't know. But anyway, something like Cambodia. And he's not tall. This guy's not tall. He's that's tripping me out that there's a dude that's me that's alive right now. It's kind of blowing my mind. Like I was going okay when it was all women, but now I'm like, I don't even know how this works. I do not know. Okay. He's I don't know. He's 5'4", maybe. He's not tall. He's strong. He's sinewy, meaning muscular, but not built muscular because he's had to be, because I don't know that does he have an education? He doesn't have an education. He is a smart guy. He's a smart guy. He's done okay for himself. Again, there's this sense that he has his own business. He, a merchant of some kind, a merchant or I don't know. I'm seeing selling. I don't know if they're fruit, some kind of thing that he sells fruit, but he's good with money. Oh Lord, he's got a family. So this is where family, does he have kids? No. Does he have kids? He may have one kid. That complicates the whole thing, doesn't it? I have another me that has a kid. Okay. All right. And that's a male, right? Who cares? Yeah, right. Of course this is normal. I think he has a child. He's been through a lot. This man has been through a lot. He's been through a lot in his life, a lot of upheaval, a lot of, I'm getting Pol Pot, but I'm also getting a T name, some kind of T. I don't know if he's been through dictatorships, through brutal war. He's been through a lot. And he says, and what he would say right now, and he also smiles a lot. He's not a moody guy. He smiles a lot. He's very grateful. He's a kind of person who's very grateful for what he has, but he's seen a lot of tragedy in his life. He's happy to be alive, to be honest with you. He's just one of those people that's every day is a gift kind of guy. He has hair, it's straight. Again, it's that kind of brown hair. It's straight, or dark hair. It's straight and, kind of cut, like this. I don't if I had to talk to him, I wouldn't understand a word he says. I mean, he speaks whatever Cambodian, whatever that is, anyway, could he be Buddhist? Tung Jiao. I don't know what he just said to me, but I almost could say it. Anyway, so now I have a man. Okay. I have a bunch of skinny people, and me and this Polish lady are the only fat ones. I'm not even going to talk to her because I feel your pain. I feel your pain, lady. Carbs, bring them on, right? So how can you find your own people, right? How can you find your own people? Well, first of all, what you would want to do is you would want to develop the ability to push your ego brain aside. Thinking is not going to help you. And thinking is not the language of your spirit guides or of the divine. Thinking is human. And that is really why a lot of our brain is not used, why we are not using a lot of our brain. Like they're wondering, why do we only use a small part of our brain? We use the part that we need. We need to stay alive. We need to sense danger. We need to source food. We need to source a mate for procreation, possibly. Not necessarily, but possibly. We need to have money, source money to live. So these are the areas that our brain has grown in. As we go into ascension, our brain is going to allow these other types of energies. We're going to grow that part of our capacity in our brain. But right now, what you can do is meditate. And you can meditate by walking. You can meditate by doing hobbies. You can meditate by exercising, or you can meditate by breathing, or you can meditate by listening to guided meditations or tones or music. There's all kinds of ways to meditate. All that Spirit is asking you do is to stop force feeding information into your brain for a few minutes so that they can come in and send you guidance. They often show me the image of a freeway with bumper to bumper traffic. That's your thoughts. Your spirit guides are on the on-ramp, but they can't get a message to you. They can't get guidance to you because there's no opening in the traffic, which is your thoughts. So if you open some room up in your thinking, spirit guides can come in. So if you're the kind of person that listens to books on tape when you're traveling, or listens to videos all the time, or reads books all the time, or you're a learning type person, you're constantly learning, your spirit guides just can't get a word in edgewise. Create some blank space. When you're doing that hobby, gardening, exercising, whatever that is for you, try to do it sometimes without listening to anything. Try to just allow your brain and your mind to wander. Because when you can daydream and allow your brain to wander, that's when your spirit guides can start giving you that more overt, more recognizable guidance. One reason why children are able to have more connections with their guides and see their passed over loved ones and have invisible friends is because they have plenty of time to daydream. They have plenty of time to play with dolls or trucks or puzzles or draw. And while they're doing that, they're not thinking 2 + 2 is 4. They're just daydreaming. And that's why when they go into school, that often just stops, because now their brain is engaged in a new way. And that new way is books, learning, understanding social skills. So that's why that kind of stops at that point. So if you want to find out how many versions of you are out there, I would suggest that you look into creating some blank spaces for your guides to come in. Now start communicating with your spirit guides, be they helpers or your guardian angels or your crossover level, whatever it is. You start with square one. What I want you to do is get a pad, get any kind of pad, or get use your phone, use your tablet. Doesn't have to be that. I want you to start writing down anything that happens. If you're seeing a repeating number, write it down. 2, 22, 23, today's date. You write that down and you say, I'm seeing 111. If that's all you want to write, just write that. If you have time and you say, I'm seeing 111, and I'm thinking at the time, I was thinking about taking a trip. I was thinking about retiring. I was thinking about calling my daughter, whatever it is, just write it down. You don't have to. I'm not a journaler, so I've resisted this. And I'll tell you, even though I'm the biggest resistor of this, I'm the biggest proponent of it because I've seen how it's helped me. So if you don't like journaling, you don't like writing down things, do it in the simplest form possible, because the payoff is huge. By keeping a journal, and you can, again, do this on your phone, do this in the notes section on your phone. Get a journal app on your phone, or get a piece of paper, not a piece of paper, get us something that's always in a place where you can find it. And it has to be together. Don't just email it to you, because it won't be together. It has to be a place where you can look at it all of a piece. Because what happens is you write down anything that happens. Let's say you have an odd thought, out of the blue thought. Write that down. Out of the blue thoughts are guidance. They didn't come from your brain. Again, you say, I had the craziest thought. We have lots of ways to describe psychic abilities in our society so that we don't think it's psychic. A little bird told me it's perfectly normal for your parents to have said, I don't know, a little bird told me, and we don't ask any questions, do we? Has anybody ever asked, where's the little bird? What did it tell you? And how did it tell you that? Did you hear it? Did you feel it? We don't ask any questions. It's accepted in our community that a little bird is something I know, but I don't know how I know it. Again, you might say, I just know he's going to get the job. Somebody says, how do you know? I don't know, but I just know he's going to get the job. Write that down. If that happens to you, that's psychic. If you've ever said, I just know it, I don't know how I know it, but I just know it, that is claircognizance, folks. That is psychic. Write it down in your book. The other day I said, or today I said, I knew John was going to get the promotion, but I don't know how I know it. Just write it down. You get a song stuck in your head. It happens to me all the time. If you're clairaudient, it happens to you. You get songs stuck in your head. I spent the whole weekend trying to find this song. And then I spent the rest of the weekend trying to figure out what the heck it meant. So you get this song stuck in your head and you're singing the lyrics and you don't know why. Write down the lyrics. And you can write down, I don't know why, ? Or you can write down, I think it means this. Write it all down. Let's say a squirrel comes up to your window and puts its little paws on your window and looks at you. That's not normal. If you don't feed squirrels, that's not normal. That's abnormal. That's out of the blue. Write it down. Today, a squirrel put its paws on the window and looked at me for a whole 3 minutes and wouldn't leave. Write it down. If you pull cards for yourself and you get an interesting message, write it down. If somebody walks up to you and says, Susan, have you ever thought about being a teacher? And you think, have you lost your mind? Write that down. This person walked up to me and said, have you ever thought about being a tarot card reader? I thought they were crazy, but I'm writing it down. Why are you writing it down? Well, because these things that happen are one-offs, unique, weird. Your brain goes, that doesn't fit into any category. That doesn't make any sense to me. I'm just going to throw it away. So you don't remember it. But if you write it down, it's all here. And when you flip through those pages, you're going to be like, oh my God, because it's going to tell a story. I promise you it will. If you will give it a month of writing down whatever thing happens, whatever, it doesn't matter what it is. You'll see a story of guidance. All the dots will finally get connected. And then you'll realize you're being guided. And then you'll start trusting and having faith that you're guided. And then you'll want more guidance. And then you'll do more meditation. And then as you create a better and more connected relationship with your spirit guides, you can start doing things like automatic writing. And if you ever have done automatic writing, you can do automatic writing. And you can say, I want to know how many, just right now, I promise you this will work. I promise you right now. We're going to do an exercise. Grab a piece of paper or not. Doesn't matter. I don't care. I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to say the first thing that comes to your mind. You cannot think about it because thinking is wrong. We're not asking our brain. We're asking our subconscious. I'm going to ask you a question. Say out loud or write down the first thing that comes to your mind. How many multiple yous do you have running around the earth right now? What's the first thing that came to your mind? How many, what number? Write it down. You know what number I got? 15. You know how we always are told, always go with the first thing you get. It's usually the right one. That's another way that society uses to explain that your psychic hit is the right one. Your subconscious knows more than your thinking mind. What did you get? 5, 3, 20? Write it down. If we're just playing, then it can't be right or wrong. Write it down. How many yous do you have running around in the country you currently live? 0, 1, 5? Write it down. Do you have a mini version of you that's older? Yes or no? Write down yes or no. Do you have a version of you alive right now that's younger than you? Write it down, yes or no. Do you have a version of you that is an opposite gender that you are right now? Yes or no? Write it down. You know, you can ask yourself these questions yourself. You can do this. It's fun. It's a fun game to do. You can just simply challenge yourself, right? Think of 5 colors quickly, write them down. You're training yourself to trust your subconscious, which is super important. So play the game. Name 5 male names like Ed, Bob, John, Philip. You're training your subconscious to come forward and play. You're training your thinking mind to sit down and be quiet for a minute. Name 5 zoo animals: zebra, giraffe, hippopotamus, bat, cougar. Play along with me. This is how you train yourself. So you can get to the point where you say, should I take the job? Yes or no? No. Should I eat this donut? Yes or no? No. Is it in my highest good to retire right now? Yes or no? Yes. It's just play. Write it down in your little journal. Write it down in your little journal. And then see if the questions you asked and the answers you got come true. Should my son, John, let's just make it very specific. Will my son get the new job? Yes or no? No. Write it down. No, he's not going to get the new job. Now, here's where you get into trouble, because that's going to piss you off. What do you mean he's not getting the new job? I want him to get the new job. Welcome to my world, folks. 1-800-Spirit Guides, press 1 for complaints. If you're going to do this work, you're going to get the answer you get, and it's not always going to be the one you want. Right? It's not always going to be the one you want. And that takes you to a higher level of evolution that you have to trust and have faith that answer I didn't want to get was maybe a good thing. Thank God for unanswered prayers, right? Thank God for unanswered prayers. That maybe my human self right now thinks that, man, my son is going to get that job. He needs that job. And I did that little exercise and it said no. Write it down though, because 6 months later, he might have gotten a better job. And you can go back and turn back to that page and go, I said right here 6 months ago, he wasn't going to get the job. And I was mad. But now I'm happy because he got a better job. This is how you grow your soul. This is how you evolve. And this is how you can find out. You can even do the same thing with your spirit guides. I do this with my students. Is your spirit guide tall or thin? Write it down. Tall. Is my spirit guide short or fat? Fat. Is my spirit guide a male or a female? Female. Does my spirit guide have eyes that I can see? No, can't see their eyes. If I can see their eyes, what color are they? Is my spirit guide a human? Yes or no? Is my spirit guide a color? Or even if it's a human, what color do I think, know, see, feel with my spirit guide? Blue. What color do I associate with my spirit guide? Blue. You guys, it's that simple. You don't have to be me. You don't have to be a psychic medium. You already are a psychic. You're human. It's your birthright. It's there for you. It's a muscle that no one uses. And now we're going to start using it. So I'm going to end that video because, as you see, I get into teaching mode and I could go on for 3 hours. I hope you enjoyed this Way Out Wednesday, and I hope you found out that you have some mini yous running around, and dive into it, right? Learn more about it if you like, or if not, just something you experienced and you can move on with your day, right? Let me know in the comments what you think. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for supporting my channel. I really genuinely appreciate you. If you like these Way Out Wednesdays, subscribe. You can ignore the political videos and just tune into the spiritual ones. That's fine. You can go to my YouTube channel and you can find the playlist, and you can find more Way Out Wednesdays, and you can also find a lot more spiritual videos there as well. I do have a membership group on Patreon. You can look in the description of this video and find out more information about that. But we do a lot of spiritual things there, including Soul Growth Sundays. Soul Growth Sundays is where every other Sunday, my spirit guides come up with questions. We ask ourselves this question. It's a group exercise. People show up with or without the video on Zoom. It doesn't matter. We ask the questions. We pull an oracle card or tarot card, and then we get the answer, and we journal a little bit about it, and it teaches us about ourselves. some of the questions would be, what's blocking me in my spiritual development? You can use that for yourself right now. For my highest good, I would like to know what's blocking me in my spiritual development. Pull one card. One card. Write it down in your book that you just started using. Write down the question, write down the date, write down the deck, write down the card, write down what you get from that information. I promise you, you will grow spiritually if you do that. If you ask your spirit guides questions, pull cards, and write down the answers, you will grow spiritually. We've been doing this on my Patreon membership group for a year, and I can promise you the people that go to that every other Sunday, the majority of the time, have really grown their soul, grown their abilities. And it's a drop in, drop out, whatever you want to do. There's no, we don't take attendance. You just come if you can. And if you can't make it, I record it and put it on the Patreon post so that you can do it yourself later. So there is that resource for you as well. Take really good care. I'll talk to you again next Wednesday, and we'll see you soon.